So, hello. Just gonna riff off a quick concept I had. The basic idea is that sort of having a chuckle as I came up with this. They encourage people to take the red pill, right? And then, but it's, sort of boink, 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 boink. And then they bash the woke. So this is interesting, of course, because the idea of taking the red pill is that you awaken and detach from the matrix. So you become aware of the artificial, so to speak, systems that are holding people in place and keeping them aligned with a paradigm of control. And once you wake up or go down the rabbit hole, become surrounded by a strange cast of characters, and everyone's kind of adhering to their own internal logic, which doesn't make a ton of sense to, should we say, an audience, if that makes sense. So once you've opted for the choice of taking yourself down a path in which everything becomes strange and there's sort of a code of logic, but it's nonsense. And then I think for a lot of people, after they make some sort of initial choice and it's tough, because if I had to think about it, that initial choice might be, you could say, out of curiosity, you could say out of boredom, but I think there is an element to it that's sort of like almost choosing a fallen state, or straying from the path that you were guided along, at essentially the first, or an important fork in the road. And so there's a whole culture push, or basically a lot of media dedicated to people accepting the fact that they have taken a sort of detour path or made a choice where everything has become absurd. And I'd say that's part of sort of just a new age hero's journey, I want to say. Like, it's obviously well marked territory, but basically starting to, making a choice in your past or whatever towards something that, you know, takes you outside of the life that maybe other people had planned for you or some such thing. And once you're there, there's not really any going back. I think that's an important part of the discussion, right? That there's no real point in in pining for the time when this person who has taken the red pill, the one who has taken the red pill, becomes, there's no going back, right? That's kind of a fundamental tenet. And then, so this media doesn't glorify, but it sort of highlights this this aspect of sort of I think it sounds a bit harsh to say turn away from God, but go down a path of discovery, that leads to kind of a shocking welcoming into a new mode of being, where you see that a lot of stuff that goes on is absurd, and a lot of the characters that show up after one makes that choice are absurd, right? And so I think the funny thing is that the red pill was branded as sort of a conservative or type of thing, in a sense. However, they who represent conservatism, arguably within the sort of normal framework, and also the sort of captured assets who buy into the soup of the day, or the phrasing of the day, right, are constantly drawing attention to the nonsensical aspects of the world that shows up for many of us to see. So in media, in international public policy, definitely with corporations who by their very nature are part of a matrix, like a chain store. You could, if you never traveled and never turned on a TV or something, you could think that one of the stores in your neighborhood with a big shining sign is the only iteration of that thing. But of course, the more you get out there, the more you see that it's like basically the same store, town to town to town, and then after a few hundred miles or something, another version of that with other branding sort of has claimed a different territory, and so there's this mesh of the same logo, the same sign. And lately they've been like the coffee company and some of the movie companies have been doing this concerted effort to use the kind of soup of the day language to capture attention and to capture currency, and oftentimes the attempts at that look absurd. If you stare at them for too long, if you're paying attention to what some coffee company is releasing in their whatever, like, monthly newsletter, now that's kind of a mixed bag, but it's sort of compounded on. I guess the point of this video is that it's compounded on by the same people that had the intention of getting others to see the absurdity of the interconnected world and all the agents who serve that more blatantly or whatever. And so my suspicion is that a lot of these people who a lot of the ones who took a detour in life, became a part of the nonsense, I guess is what I'm saying. That's sort of a logical progression, because you'd see the absurdity of it all, and for like Alice in Wonderland, she's very like stern and sort of frustrated by everyone else's absurdity, but I think some people didn't stay in that uncomfortable state and chose to reflect back the absurdity of the world that they had been brought into, or into the witnessing of the world that they had been brought into by becoming something absurd. And while rigidly adhering to logical principles, at the same time being just goofy or slightly sinister. So yeah, that was just my take on the, basically the outside forces that want you to realize that the system writ large is controlled and unfair, or I'm not sure if that's the right way to put it, unfair. I mean, it could be, but like, those same red pill type folks also are the same ones to call out when others go too far with their presentation or their role playing or their, I think role playing in that world. And so yeah, please like the video. Welcome any thoughts on it. I'm doing these videos as a hobby. So I figured this was a good place to start, acknowledging that, or I mean, I've done other videos before, but this is one of the longer form ones I've done just without any like props or kind of thing. So I'll just have to do a part 2 if there's something that really seems fresh after all this, and there, I think there will be, because it's, probably the more I talk about it, the less funny it's going to seem to with this exact sort of turn of phrase, but that's just where I'm at. I'm done with this video, so yeah, thanks for watching. I'm starting a new job tomorrow, and it's good to practice with this thing in front of a camera. Everything changes once you're in front of a camera. Bye.